What if I told you that behind the loud guitars, leather jackets, and headbanging chaos, some of heavy metal's biggest stars were tangled in scandals that almost destroyed them? From shocking betrayals and secret affairs to wild accusations that tore bands apart. These weren't just rumors. They were ticking time bombs waiting to explode. Some stories were buried by PR teams. Others whispered in backstage halls where only the bold dared to speak. But once the truth started to slip out, fans began to see their idols in a whole new light. Here are 13 nasty rumors about heavy metal stars that shook the world. 13. James Hetfield. The night James Hetfield caught fire on stage became one of heavy metal's most shocking moments. But what followed was even wilder. It was August of 1992, and Metallica was performing in Montreal when a massive flame burst from the stage pyrotechnics. Hetfield accidentally stepped into the fire, and in seconds, his arms and hands were covered in burns. Fans froze in disbelief as the show stopped abruptly. He was rushed away, and rumors began spreading before he even reached the hospital. At first, people said it was just a tragic mistake, a technical fault gone wrong. But then whispers began to twist the story. Some claimed there had been an argument within the band, and the fire was not an accident at all. A few wild stories even suggested that someone sabotaged the pyrotechnics, hinting at jealousy and hidden drama among the members. Tabloids took those rumors and ran with them, turning a real tragedy into a scandal. Others believed Hetfield himself exaggerated the injuries to rebuild his image after internal tension and growing criticism of Metallica's shift in sound. When he returned to the stage, fans couldn't ignore the symbolism, the frontman who had walked through fire and survived. The burns, the pain, and the recovery became part of his legend. He didn't just return to music. He returned with more rage, more grit, and a voice that carried both scars and strength. Even after years, the rumor refused to die. Fans still debate what truly happened that night: a freak accident, a setup, or something else entirely. Whatever the truth, it only added another scar to the myth of James Hetfield, the man who burned, rose, and kept the fire alive in every note he played. 12. Slash. Slash wasn't just a guitarist. He was a walking legend wrapped in leather, curls, and cigarette smoke. But behind his laid-back cool was one of the nastiest rumors in heavy metal history: that he had died more than once. During the late 80s, as Guns N' Roses ruled the charts, fans began whispering strange stories. Every time Slash vanished for a while, tabloids claimed he had overdosed or suffered cardiac arrest. Magazines printed fake obituaries. Radio hosts announced his passing more than once. It became a running dark joke. Slash had 9 lives, maybe more. But there was a chilling reason the stories sounded believable. In 1987, Slash actually overdosed on heroin and was pronounced clinically dead for almost 3 minutes before paramedics revived him. That single event fueled years of haunting gossip. Some fans said he had out-of-body experiences or saw his own ghost standing beside his body. Others believed he had secretly died again during the Use Your Illusion tour and been replaced by a look-alike. The wild imagination of the rock world made every rumor sound real. Slash never tried to stop the stories. Instead, he lived with them, even leaned into them. Every time he reappeared with that slow swagger, guitar hanging low, fans felt like they were seeing a man who had crawled back from the grave. He didn't need to correct anyone. The mystery kept him larger than life. Those near-death stories became part of his myth. The idea that he couldn't die, no matter what, made him even more iconic. Slash wasn't just a survivor. He was the embodiment of heavy metal's rebellion, danger, and immortality. The rumors painted him as untouchable, and in some strange way, they weren't completely wrong. 11. Corey Taylor. When Slipknot burst onto the metal scene in the late 90s, fans had never seen anything like them. 9 masked figures, each one faceless and furious, stormed the stage, with violent energy. But behind the chaos, one rumor began spreading like wildfire, that Corey Taylor and his bandmates performed secret occult rituals before every show. Fans claimed their masks were not just costumes, but vessels for dark energy representing demons or spirits they summoned through ritualistic chants. The rumors grew even darker after interviews where members spoke cryptically about what the masks meant. Some fans believed the band made pacts for fame, exchanging their identities for musical power. Others insisted the group practiced witchcraft in abandoned buildings before recording sessions. Tabloids printed twisted versions of their lyrics, calling them satanic messages in disguise. Corey Taylor never shied away from controversy. Instead of denying it outright, he used the mystery to his advantage. He once said the masks were about emotion and anonymity, the freedom to unleash what's buried deep inside. But he also loved watching the world panic, knowing the more people feared them, the more powerful Slipknot became. The band's performances, drenched in blood-red lighting and screams, didn't help quiet the gossip. Fans saw rituals where there were only stage theatrics. Slipknot's chaos blurred the line between performance and possession, leaving everyone guessing what was real. Even today, many still believe those masks hide something darker than faces. The rumor never died. It only grew louder, shaping Slipknot's identity as the most mysterious and feared force in modern heavy metal. 10. Dave Mustaine. Before Dave Mustaine became known as the Fiery frontman of Megadeth, his name carried shadows of something darker. The rumor was that he once dabbled in satanic rituals and occult practices, drawing inspiration from forbidden beliefs for his lyrics. Stories spread that early in his career, he owned books on black magic and studied spells to channel energy into his music. His aggressive songs and cryptic imagery only made those whispers louder. Fans said that Mustaine's talent came at a price, that he had struck a deal with darkness itself. Some even believed strange accidents during tours were the result of curses or spiritual payback. His fall from Metallica and his battles with addiction seemed to confirm the idea of a man haunted by unseen forces. For years, people painted him as a tortured soul who walked too close to the edge. Then came his dramatic turn. After hitting rock bottom, Mustaine converted to Christianity and publicly rejected his past associations. That only fueled new talk, that he was trying to cleanse something he couldn't escape. His sudden devotion to faith became its own source of speculation. Was it guilt, redemption, or an attempt to rewrite his story? Whatever the reason, the rumor of Dave's connection to the occult still lingers. It became part of his legacy, a shadow following even his loudest chords. Whether real or imagined, it gave Megadeth's music a dangerous, mystical power that fans could feel but never fully explain. 9. Ronnie James Dio. When Ronnie James Dio raised his hand and flashed the now iconic devil horns, the world gasped. To fans, it became a symbol of metal pride. To critics, it was a mark of evil. But the rumor that haunted Dio for years was that he had invented the gesture as a salute to Satan. Churches condemned him, parents banned his albums, and the media accused him of spreading demonic worship through music. The truth was much more personal. Dio learned the gesture from his Italian grandmother, who used it to ward off the evil eye. It wasn't a call to darkness. It was protection against it. But by the time that story surfaced, the rumor had already spread too far. Everywhere Dio went, people saw him as the man who gave metal its devilish hand sign. Dio never seemed angry about it. Instead, he wore it like armor. He understood that myths made legends, and the controversy only amplified his influence. Soon, the horns became the universal symbol of rebellion, a way for fans to say they feared nothing, not even the devil himself. Though Dio always insisted on its innocent origin, the rumor outlived him. Even today, millions still call it the devil horns, forgetting that it was born from superstition, not Satan. The misunderstanding gave Dio's image a mysterious glow, part hero, part villain, perfectly fitting for a man who could turn myth into music and music into eternal power. 8. Rob Halford. In the 1980s, heavy metal was under attack. Conservative groups claimed that hidden, satanic messages were buried inside songs, waiting to brainwash young fans. At the center of this storm was Rob Halford and his band, Judas Priest. The rumor? That their songs contained backward messages commanding listeners to harm themselves. The idea spread so fast that it turned into a moral panic across America. In 1985, 2 teenagers attempted suicide, and media outlets blamed Judas Priest. They said subliminal satanic phrases in the song "Better by You, Better Than Me" had pushed the boys to act. The story exploded on television, painting Halford as a dangerous influence. The band was even dragged into court to defend themselves. During the trial, experts analyzed the music, and Halford played tapes in reverse to show how absurd the accusations were. But by then, the damage was done. The rumor that heavy metal hid secret messages became part of the culture. Even when Judas Priest was cleared, the shadow lingered. Halford handled it with grace and humor, but the experience marked a turning point for metal music. Fans rallied behind the band, turning the false accusation into a badge of honor. The rumor made Judas Priest legendary, not because it was true, but because it proved that metal was powerful enough to scare an entire generation. 7. Nikki Sixx. Nikki Sixx lived life faster than his own heartbeat, and one night it almost stopped for good. In 1987, the Motley Crue bassist overdosed on heroin and was declared clinically dead for 2 minutes. Paramedics revived him with adrenaline shots straight to his chest, and that's where the legend began. What really fueled the nastiest rumor was what came after. Stories spread that Nikki didn't just die. He crossed over, saw something on the other side, and came back changed. Some said he claimed to have met dark entities who warned him to keep playing. Others swore his comeback was supernatural, that he'd made some kind of pact to survive. The tale grew each time he talked about it. Fans and tabloids turned his near-death story into a resurrection myth. They said every wild performance after that night was proof he wasn't fully human anymore, that he'd been touched by something beyond life. Sixx used it to his advantage. He turned the rumor into part of his brand, writing songs that felt haunted by that moment. His memoir, The Heroin Diaries, even leaned into the mystery, leaving readers to wonder how much was real. The idea that Nikki Sixx had died and come back as a rock and roll ghost made him untouchable. Whether it was truth or tale, it sealed his image as one of heavy metal's most fearless survivors, a man who literally refused to stay dead. 6. Alice Cooper. In 1969, Alice Cooper became one of rock's most infamous names after a single night of chaos. During a wild performance in Toronto, a live chicken somehow made its way onto the stage. Nobody's quite sure how it got there, but what happened next became the stuff of legend. Fans claimed Alice grabbed the bird, ripped it apart, and threw the remains into the crowd. Headlines exploded, labeling him a real-life monster. The story painted him as the man who killed a chicken for show, the ultimate shock rocker. But here's the truth. Alice didn't do it. The bird, terrified by the noise, jumped into the audience itself. The crowd, caught up in the madness, tore it apart. Yet by morning, newspapers across the country had written their own twisted version, and Alice Cooper's reputation was forever changed. Instead of denying it, he leaned in. When reporters asked if it was true, he simply smirked and said, "Well, I guess it fits the act." The rumor spread faster than his music, turning him into a symbol of rebellion and outrage. Parents feared him, preachers condemned him, and teenagers worshipped him. The chicken incident became the perfect piece of rock mythology. Gruesome, mysterious, and unforgettable. In reality, Alice Cooper never needed fake blood or dead animals to be terrifying. His theatrical shows, fake guillotines, and eerie makeup did all the talking. Still, that one rumor stuck forever, proving that sometimes the wildest stories are the ones people want to believe. The chicken never stood a chance, but Alice Cooper walked away with a career built on pure shock and awe. 5. Axl Rose. During the chaos of the late 80s, Axl Rose ruled the stage like a storm. His voice was electric, his anger legendary, and his band Guns N' Roses was untouchable. But along with fame came one of the nastiest rumors in rock history, a supposed tape that no one could prove existed. Whispers spread through the music world that Axl had been caught in an animal cruelty video. There was no evidence, no photos, not even a reliable source, yet the story refused to die. Fans argued online, tabloids added fake details, and the rumor snowballed into something monstrous. It began as an anonymous post in underground zines, but soon it hit international headlines. People started linking the rumor to Axl's violent image, saying it matched his temper and unpredictable behavior. Critics who hated him jumped on it, calling it proof of his darkness. Axl never spoke much about it. He neither confirmed nor denied anything, which only made the gossip stronger. Over time, the story became a twisted ghost attached to his name. Even though the rumor was completely baseless, it created a lasting stain on his reputation. Years later, fans still whisper about the tape that never existed. Strangely, it became part of Axl's myth, the outlaw rock star who scared even his own audience. It's a perfect example of how heavy metal rumors can grow into monsters of their own, feeding on fear, fame, and fascination until they outlive the truth. 4. Lemmy Kilmister. Lemmy Kilmister of Motorhead was known for living harder than anyone else in rock history. With endless bottles of whiskey, speed, and cigarettes, he somehow kept going long after everyone else burned out. That's why when a rumor appeared saying Lemmy had replaced all his blood to stay alive, people actually believed it. According to the story, doctors had told him his blood was so toxic from decades of abuse that it was easier to swap it out completely than try to clean it. The tale spread like wildfire through rock magazines and fan clubs. People imagined Lemmy lying on a hospital bed, being pumped full of clean blood like some immortal vampire. He laughed it off when asked, saying something like, "If I changed all my blood, I'd die." But by then, nobody cared. The story was too wild to resist. That single rumor became part of his legend. Fans began to see him as indestructible, the man who couldn't die, no matter how hard he tried. Every cigarette, every drink, every show reinforced the idea that Lemmy wasn't human at all, but something more. Even when he passed away in 2015, people joked that death had to book an appointment to get him. The blood replacement rumor might not have been true, but it perfectly fit his reputation, a man whose veins seemed to run on pure rock and roll. 3. Marilyn Manson. In the mid-90s, Marilyn Manson became the ultimate symbol of shock rock, pale skin, black lipstick, and chaos in human form. But as his fame exploded, so did one of the strangest rumors in music history. Fans began whispering that Manson had surgically removed 2 of his ribs so he could perform a bizarre act on himself. It was grotesque, absurd, and completely unverified, yet people believed it. The rumor spread through schools, magazines, and early internet forums. Teenagers repeated it as fact, teachers banned his albums, and parents panicked. It became a moral warning. Listen to Manson and you'll end up like him. But what made it stick was his silence. Manson never outright denied it. Instead, he played along with his sinister image, saying just enough to keep people wondering. The truth was simple. It was a lie, born out of fear and fascination. There was no surgery, no proof, and no reason, just a rumor that matched his outrageous persona. But that's what made it powerful. It turned Manson from a performer into a myth, a creature people couldn't fully understand. Even today, fans still bring it up, half joking, half curious. The rib rumor became part of pop culture, a reminder that shock value doesn't just live on stage, it lives in the stories people tell. And Marilyn Manson knew exactly how to keep them talking. 2. Gene Simmons. For decades, Gene Simmons from Kiss has been known for his long tongue, the one that flicked, taunted, and shocked audiences worldwide. But somewhere along the line, fans decided it couldn't possibly be natural. The rumor began that Gene had undergone a secret surgery, replacing his tongue with that of a cow to make it longer. It sounded ridiculous, yet the story spread like wildfire. Back in the 70s and 80s, without internet fact-checking, myths like this grew overnight. Magazine columns printed it as gossip, and fans whispered about it at concerts. Some said doctors performed the surgery in a private clinic, while others claimed Simmons bragged about it backstage. He never denied it with anger. He just smiled, letting people wonder if it was true. That smirk kept the rumor alive for years. In reality, Gene's tongue is all his own. Long, yes, but completely human. Still, the rumor added to his demon stage persona, making him seem larger. He knew how to play the audience. And every time he stuck out that tongue, people gasped, half believing the myth. Even now, the image remains iconic. The tongue transplant story might be false, but it captured the wild imagination of rock culture. It was weird, bold, and unforgettable, just like Gene Simmons himself. 1. Ozzy Osbourne. If there's one rumor that defines heavy metal madness, it's Ozzy Osbourne biting the head off a bat. The story has been told so many times that it's hard to separate fact from fiction. But here's the truth. It really happened, just not the way people think. In 1982, during a show in Iowa, a fan threw a live bat onto the stage. Thinking it was a toy, Ozzy picked it up and bit down. The moment the bat twitched, he realized it was real. Chaos followed as he was rushed to the hospital for rabies shots. Within hours, the story became international news. Some claimed it was a staged ritual. Others said Ozzy did it to summon dark spirits. Religious groups called him satanic, and parents banned his music. The rumor exploded far beyond reality, turning him into the ultimate face of rock rebellion. Ozzy didn't fight the story. He embraced it. It became part of his legend, the wild tale that cemented him as metal's madman. Even though he's explained it countless times, fans still repeat it like gospel. The bat incident wasn't just a rumor, it was a defining moment. It showed how one shocking act could transform a performer into a myth. Decades later, people still talk about it, proving that in the world of heavy metal, sometimes the craziest stories are the ones that never die. So, after hearing these shocking tales and twisted rumors, one thing's clear. Heavy metal fame came with more chaos behind the curtain than anyone ever imagined. Some stars rose above the whispers, while others were buried beneath them. But were these stories really all lies? Or was there some truth hidden in the noise? Tell us what you believe in the comments below. And if you love uncovering the wild, untold secrets of rock and metal, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell, because there's plenty more madness where this came from.